Well, hey, folks, we're gonna do some game design tonight. So, give me a second here to check in on my signal. I think I need to adjust my volumes on my own microphone, and then we'll get to work here. Yeah, I need to turn that down. So, give me a hot second here to do that. There we go. That should be sitting pretty now. I'm going to take a few moments here to do some social media posting. This is normally the countdown thing that you see. You know, that will be starting in 2 minutes or whatever. That's us. Streamers getting coffee and shit like that, and I'm doing all the social media postings on Sky and X and Discord and blah de blah. So allow me, if you're already familiar with the channel, you know what's going on, you're welcome to skip ahead a minute and I'll catch up with you guys on the other side. If you're new to the channel, allow me to regale you with the story of my history. My name is Phil Kearney. Hey, I create role-playing games. I illustrate them, I publish them online, and I've been creating content for Dungeons & Dragons since 2018. I've been a freelance illustrator since 1999, and I've been running games in D&D since 1987. And what we're doing right now is we're building a book for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. It is specifically, it's Bastion Campaigns. That's the theme of the book, taking the Bastion idea that they have in the DMG now in 2024 and expanding on it so that it's more built around ability checks and the success versus complications that arise from those die rolls, those essentially skill challenges that your Bastion is making to carry out the orders that you're issuing to them. Those complications or successes become seeds of adventure for your characters to go on. So if you're interested in an episodic style of campaign where there is an overarching thing going on, but you have finite time, that you're actually breaking up your campaign into these chunks. The Bastion campaign idea, the Bastion idea in the DMG of a Bastion turn being a set block of time, typically a week, where your Bastion is carrying out orders and commerce is happening and things are getting built and blah is happening, and between adventures, that's where your characters might be hanging out, taking downtime activity, and benefiting from the facilities that you've built into these Bastions. So that's what we're working with today, is downtime activities and facility benefits gained. We're codifying and creating structure around what those benefits are, creating through lines that we can then pattern so that we can provide in the DM section of this document how to create your own orders, or like we've resolved issuing orders finally, and all the unique variants and standard orders that can be issued through each facility. Now we're going through that same process with the downtime activities that characters can take in the different facilities of their Bastion, as well as the unique benefits that those facilities provide to the Bastion as a whole or to particular characters. So those are the orders, downtime activities, and facility benefits are basically the three things, the three types of perks that you can get from choosing one facility over another. And we've been codifying it and standardizing it and rounding out and balancing what these different effects are against each other so that there's no obvious outlying winner. Like, I have to have this or else I can't do that. Like, I absolutely, this is the absolute best. I gotta have this one because it gives me all these advantages. They all give you advantages, and but only if you succeed. Like the downtime activity, your character can have one downtime activity per Bastion turn. If you're running around the city and whatever. But you basically, if you're taking downtime with your facility, with your Bastion, many, not all, but many facilities provide options for what you could be doing with that downtime activity. And so if that's how your character is conducting their business right now, and an adventure crops up, you could still run that adventure. Or if you wanted to be hard-nosed about it, hey, what's going on, Darcy? Dark Cray? I'm gonna go with Dark Cray until you tell me otherwise. But I'm sorry, I'm doing my ramp up here. I'm doing my early rant. Let me stop ranting here for a second and just conclude everything here. If you find today fun and interesting, let me get rid of my social media stuff here. Here on YouTube, like, subscribe, hit hit the bell icon for. Hey, we've got new subscribers. Thanks a lot, guys. We have more subscribers than this morning, so I'm glad the stuff that we do you think is cool. Thanks. Yeah, so if you think today is cool as well, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications. The Bastion campaign system that we're developing, the playtest document is here. It's on Google Docs. It's a read-only document for you. I obviously have editing access. I'm making the damn thing. But this is the same document that we've been using in all of the other previous weeks, and I often need to have multiple tabs open so that we can just quickly navigate through the document. Like the appendix down here that has literally everything in the player's handbook and DMG that you can purchase or create is itemized here by what the item is, what's its rarity value, because magic items have set rarity values, 100. You've got common, uncommon, rare, very rare, and legendary magic items that can be created, and they have a standardized cost, which is generally 100, 400, 4,000, 40,000, 200,000 gold each. So if like a vial of acid doesn't cost more than 100 gold, so it would be considered a common level of rarity. And then, like, what type of materials would you generally need to be able to create acid? I mean, you could always come with animals and stuff that, like monsters, that drip acid, but generally, if you're going to harvest material to create acid, it's going to come from minerals and plants. So that's just the standard, like the default material that would be used. And the facilities that can convert materials into acid include greenhouses and laboratories. So, like, if you have those facilities set up, so this is just basically, this is going to be, for people that end up buying, I mean, the whole thing's going to be visible. I guess the last thing I can say is that here's like a shitload of books I've already made, and all of them have free previews. You can read anything that I make cover to cover on DMsGuild. If the rule generally is, if you like my stuff and you want to use it in your campaigns and it's worth your time after you've read it, then buy the thing, because chances are there's a bunch of tokens or maps or assets that are included in the download with purchase that's going to benefit you if it's something you actually want to use. So, like in this example, this spreadsheet, this massive spreadsheet we have of all the items, it's going to be a spreadsheet that's included in the document, and maybe I'll even make a Google Doc that'll be available through my Patreon. I don't know. But you can sort things by different facilities, by different minerals, by different item rarity, and also the items alphabetically. So you'll have the ability to sort this. Like if I have a laboratory, an armory, and a workshop, what stuff can I make? Then you can just click those three things as check marks, and it'll just dump out all the items and magic items that you can make, and the kind of items, the materials that you need, and the level of rarity that each of those items are, because the rarity of the item dictates what rank of a facility you need to be able to create those things. So that's the idea. Hey, let me not ignore you too much. Just got it. Holy shit, that's awesome. So you're finding channels to learn from, and just had my first session on Roll20. I love using Roll20. I've got I think 7,400 hours, 7,400 hours logged on Roll20 so far. It is my VTT of choice and has been for the past 13 years. So welcome to the team, my guy. Oh yeah, yeah. I've not been working on the Spelljammer subclass book, though it is almost ready for me to have another walkthrough to make sure that I like all the language, and the Artificer got updated. So I probably need to go look at the artillery, or the siege commander. Artificer that we built. I think that needs updating, and I should have the subclasses for Sorcerer taken care of this week for the Magic the Gathering conversion set. And once that's done, then I can loop back around to the Spelljammer subclasses and fix the Artificer and fix the Sorcerer using the new mechanics that we've been utilizing. So that'll click into place. So yeah, welcome to the team, man. D&D's fun. My art streams in the morning is when I don't have an organized topic of conversation. Like, all I'll be talking about is mechanics here and actually going through the process of building a book. Like, from ideation to publication, I come up with an idea. We start building the mechanics for it here on a Google Doc. Once it gets to a point where it can be played in a game, we then extract it and start dropping it into a game environment that I play on my Discord, that I'll DM on my Discord channel, which is linked down below. Once the playtesting feels good, then we take it back out again We fix up the rest of the text so that it's presentable, and then we take it off screen to an editor who will chew on the editing. And once the editor is done with it and they pass it back to us, then we break it down in page layouts into information per page. And whatever spots are left open on that page is where the artwork goes. So then in the morning, I do artwork for books that I'm building. So I started off as an artist. I've been a freelance illustrator since 1999, and I got into making books because I got tired of getting gigs that were underpriced for material I might not have been interested in, and games I'm not necessarily interested in playing. So it was hard for me to find, like, the muse would run away from me in some of those. But once I actually started building my own books on DMsGuild, I got to finally fulfill that childhood bucket list dream of actually, like, making content for Spelljammer and Planescape. And well, now they're starting to use Magic the Gathering settings. I've been an MTG junkie since 1994, so I love being able to build color mechanics for, like, spellcasting and stuff like that, and the martial power system that we've been developing so that martial characters can use color mana, just like spellcasters. Like, all that shit is super geek out for me as a little kid. Like, since I was 12, I've been building stuff and interested. I've been a DM and wanting to, like, make more for. Anyway, this is all scratching a very, very ancient dream that I had as a kid. And so I love D&D. I love the campaign settings that are just inherited from TSR. I love that Magic the Gathering is part of the same parent company because I'm a huge MTG fan. And I love how great of a game engine 5e is. How easy it is to kit bash with it. You know, like it's like what is it? It's like the Nissan Acura of game engines. Because you can just do so much to the engine and the frame of it and how it runs. It's just an incredibly versatile mechanical system, and that's what I build books about. But it's in the mornings when I'm doing artwork, when all I have to do is push pixels and turn off my brain. The best way for me to turn off my brain is to talk about old school D&D and just bullshit philosophy that I've came up with about the game, like how games run and sage advice and all that sort of shit. So you are most welcome to drop by the Discord channel or anytime that I'm streaming or whatever and ask a question. And if it's something that catches my fancy to spin yarn on, I will tell you a tale. So let's get to work. So we've been building out for, I guess, the past month or so. We've been locking down how orders operate inside of the game. And having said that, we actually have a pretty good chunk of stuff here at the front end that isn't going to belong here very long. We're gonna start off with what is a Bastion? How do you gain ranks in Bastion? What do those Bastion ranks do for your Bastion and your characters? And the primary thing that it does is it allows you to install facilities into your Bastion. This is all DMG stuff right now. So very cool, and right my alley. So contenta. So right on. Excellent. I hope this is entertaining for you. So if I resonate with you, I'm proud to have you. So the primary thing that you do with a Bastion, it's a location. So you install facilities so that you can do things with it. You know, character hero stuff with it. So we have 30 some odd facilities. I think we have 32 facilities listed in the document here so far. There's 29 in the DMG. So we translated all the facilities and we added some on that we thought were going to be fun. Let's see. The orders, so the facilities, the ranks matter. Most of these orders issued, this isn't even relevant anymore. So we're going to have to scrape all that out too. Yeah, this isn't relevant anymore. We've simplified Bastion facilities so much that these master tables that we have aren't important for balance anymore. The system is balanced unto itself. I'm really happy about that, and it's simple enough. We're trying to design them to be simple enough that you can, with just some guidelines in the DM section of the book, to be able to create your own facilities using the same methodology to be able to create balanced facilities. So like one facility isn't obviously more powerful than another one. There's 5 ranks. Each rank corresponds with effectively like the proficiency bonus that your characters gain. So 1st, 5th, 9th, 13th, 17th, that half casting scale, which scales with your proficiency bonus, that really is the magical sweet spot of where 5e is. Anything that's highly balanced, that works, just naturally works intuitively in the 5e game engine, is basically going to be built off of the half casting scaffold of that 1, 5, 9, 13, 17 scale. That's if you pace progress of character or power in general, like ship balance or whatever it is that you're messing around with, the that 5-point scale is really going to generally work well if you have the power and options that are available in each of those ranks be equivalent to roughly what a character of the same level would be able to do. It's like a 4th rank Bastion should be able to operate like a 15th level character can if that character never went on an adventure. What would they be doing in their downtime, in their wizard's tower in the woods or whatever? What kind of shit are they getting up to there? If you can answer that question as a DM, you now know how to just automatically breathe life into your world when your team walks into a space they're not familiar with. If you can establish what's the settlement, community, or bastion that's relevant to this particular area, what does it focus on, and what's the disposition of the people that operate it, and what are their goals? And that's going to feed in a ton of adventure, just automatically be there for you right away. And as soon as a player latches on to anything that they find out about any of these places, that then becomes your rabbit hole that you want to dive down with them to take this adventure where the hell. If they decide that they love a cupcake shop and they want to make that cupcake shop like legit the best cupcakes in the multiverse, and they're willing to dedicate their characters to the task, they will achieve that goal. And I've ran campaigns like that. They are fucking fun. Throwing 8th, 9th level spell slots behind making pastries, it's insane. So it becomes its own thing. At one point, I had an Ephesian campaign running that way. The team was fighting psionic mimes that were the mafia, because in Dark Sun, bards are assassins. And this idea of bard dance and stuff has been around since 2nd edition. And so we just naturally came up with mimes, just seem to be a natural psionic creature because they don't speak, but they can still threaten you. So they should have psionic telepathic abilities. So telepathy and psychokinesis, so they could erect invisible walls and stuff like that. It was stupid ridiculous, but that was the major antagonists that the team was fucking around with while they're running around. Anyway, it was fun. It was a fun campaign. It wasn't cupcakes. They started to really get into this guy that made hats. His name was Gizmo Dan, and he would make contraption hats that would do different devices. They were like minor magic items. This is 2nd edition, so there was the rules were a lot more loosey-goosey back then. So you could just basically make up shit as you go along. It was 1st and 2nd edition, despite all the rules, all the crazy cacophony of rules that were in BECME through 2nd edition before WotC took over. It really was just like a slightly structured cops and robbers game where there was a lot of rules to help you randomize or RNG something that might respond to your world, if you keep screwing over your hirelings and having them check for traps for you, they have specific penalties in 2nd edition and 1st edition about how low their morale gets, and then it makes you roll for that morale periodically when you ask them to do things for you. And if it fails badly enough, they'll attack you for trying to get them killed. It's like it went super deep down the rabbit hole. But at the same time, it's like, these are just ways you can run your game. None of this shit is necessary. You can just dream up stuff as you go along and occasionally roll a 20-sided dice to resolve something if you want. Like, that's how loose original D&D was, and everything that you added onto it was basically like an optional add-on that you would just clip onto the system in general. And so the entire game frame worked that way. And I know that the original idea in 5e was to return to that core chassis that you could add different types of complexity and depth to build different types of games, but they never got there. So most of the books that I build take that idea and create these clip-on systems that allow you to manipulate the 5e game engine to run different types of games, which is what I've been talking about, that idea and applying it to different concepts. Spelljammer, Theurgy, Magic the Gathering, color mana magic, the Bastion system here, the martial power system that we've been developing, whether it works with color mana or not, it's a martial magic system. So it's like all these different components that you can add on to either separately to have a flavor or add them all at the same time to basically play how Phil runs 5e. And but this Bastion system is the same way. So the way that these operate is that same scale of 1st to 5th rank. So a 4th rank facility should be able to pull off the same kind of bullshit that a 15th level character can pull off. And once you get to 5th rank, you're talking you should be able to change the world. And a 5th rank facility has like 10,000 plus people in their organization. It wields millions of gold worth of commerce. It really can shape reality. It has access to 9th level spells. So it can just manipulate reality, like flat out. If it's equipped to do it, it can do it. So this is basically what we're building our characters into. So the facilities have basically 2 balancing points. The rank, what rank do you need to be able to pull off the things that this can do? And so we have a stacking system, like you have to level up the facility. Like if you want to have an armory, if you want to make magical items with it, the level of your magic item is going to be dependent on how many ranks you've put into your armory. So if you have if you're a 4th rank facility, if you have a 4th rank bastion, you can't put you don't get credit for more than 4 points put in your armory, although you could dump as many points as you want into it. A 4th rank bastion, if you have a 4th rank armory, your 4th rank armory, which creates magic items, can create them up to common, uncommon, rare, very rare quality, a legendary or 5th. So once you get to a 4th rank bastion with an armory that's completely kitted out for your level, it can build magic items, armor, weapons, ammunition, armaments like braces of ogre power, stuff like that. All these magic items, plus like siege engines, Spelljammer warships, all sorts of crazy crap. It's just whatever the value of it. At that point, you can basically make anything that's 40,000 gold or less in value, which is like a damselfly spell, like a scorpion ship. I think is 75,000 gold. So like you wouldn't be able to start making scorpion ships until you get to 5th rank. So stuff like that. So that's where all the scaling comes in. So the level of your bastion is going to dictate the level of power or the amount of wealth that the characters can wield through their bastion to be able to create and supplement their characters with stuff. It all takes time. So you have bastion turns you have to spend before the thing is done, and each turn you have an adventure, or you allow the bastion to take care of everything because your characters are focused on building something or researching something or whatever. Then the turns just spin by and basically become skill checks through the bastion of an effective character level. Like a 4th rank bastion would have a d20 plus 4 as like an ability bonus, and then we have the bastion die, which is the proficiency dice from 2014, d4, d6, d8, d10, d12, which you see all throughout my system work. 4th rank bastion would roll an extra d10 instead of a plus 5 proficiency bonus. So it would have a range of basically anywhere from 5 to 35, and the results that you can get are 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, depending on the difficulty of the task. Like a legendary magic item requires a DC 30 roll or a complication occurs. And that complication doesn't mean you fail. The complication means you got to do something to make it work. Like you need, I don't know, like you need a beholder's eye, or you need the claw of a Glabrazu, something like that. Well, now we gotta go fucking fetch a Glabrazu or go fight a beholder. We'll get after it then, So like the complication is random, which we'll be dealing with later. But the complications drive the adventures. So if your characters are looking for new, since we're looking at the campaign from an episodic view of one adventure per week, because I don't think I've ran a single adventure yet that took more than 2 days in time. The travel time might be a bitch. And there's random stuff that happens inside of there. But the actual events of what you're trying to do can typically be resolved within, say, 4 days. So if you have a week of time, you can kind of fudge timelines about getting to and from somewhere, especially the higher level you get with plane shift and teleport and stuff like that. You can basically just beam your characters anywhere they need to be and then have a week to fuck around and find out what's going on. But you can generally begin and then conclude an adventure within a week. So a Bastion turn becomes a viable space where you have episodic adventures for your characters. And as your Bastion levels up, you would naturally have higher level characters, or as your characters level up, they'll naturally pull the level of the Bastion up with them, depending on which one you want to make them the central focus of the campaign. My homebrew campaign right now, the Eberron Spelljammer Asteroid Belt mining operation that the team owns, the Bastion is first. And then they build, and then they have multiple groups of characters. They have a squadron of fighter pilots. They have a dwarf and warforged delving team that goes into asteroids and fights monsters that they find inside the middle of asteroids. They have a diplomacy team that negotiates with the different nations of Eberron when they come up with like rights conflicts or there's a territory dispute. And they haven't built one yet, but I think they're about to build their first espionage team to start breaking into facilities to steal information from rival nations so they can get advantages over them in mining contracts or military operations or whatever. So they have I think they have 3 different adventuring teams that they run right now, and they're about to build a 4th. And just depending on what they want, what complications arise this week for their, like what fires we got to put out this week. It's like, well, that would probably be like, well, the workers are striking. They're unwilling to work. Well, we could handle that in a couple different ways. We could either negotiate with them with our negotiation diplomacy team. We could send in military force and threaten and attack them to break up whatever blockades they have, and it becomes a combat mission. Or it could be like an espionage mission where you're going into finding out without revealing your hand what they're trying to get at underneath the actual complaint to discover some sort of conspiracy or something like that, so that you can ferret that out and quell the uprising that's been spurred by enemies hidden within as sleeper cells, for instance. So like these are different adventures that the team can run, and when they resolve it, the complication goes away so they can complete the task. Go kill the beholder, bring the eye back. We can now make this match. It'll take 3 more months, but now as long as you sustain that task, it'll be completed without any further complications. It's if you take a break from it to go fuck around with something and then come back, now you have to re-roll it because you broke your rhythm. You could potentially create a new complication. It's like, yeah, the Eye of the Beholder works right, but the Dwemer here is wrong. The star's out of alignment. You now need to learn a new formula to make this magic item work properly because it hasn't been phasing with, I don't know, Sephiroth or whatever. So now you have to do research or find out what the fuck is going on with the stars, because if it's just a downtime task, it's just perform the research and give us the new formula that we need to complete the item, and we'll keep at it. Or if it becomes an adventure, it's something more nefarious in that the stars are actually out of alignment, so you can't make the item until you go into space and solve the problem with who's fucking with the stars. You come back, you can keep building your magic item. Cheers. Like that's how the Bastion campaign's built to run. So the different facilities that we have are complementing those different ideas. We've gotten to a point where all of the actual orders that can be issued to do all these downtime tasks, like building stuff and researching things and blah, that's all been set now. But there's also facility benefits that are ways to change how your Bastion operates. And there's also downtime activities that if your character isn't on an adventure this week, this is like, for example, library. A character that spends a Bastion turn of downtime activity using this facility gains the benefit of a Legend Lore Charm. And we know by the rules that a Legend Lore Charm is basically that character has At any time, they can snap their fingers and the legend lore spell triggers without any material components or even being a spellcaster. But you've sopped up enough information over the past week in the library that when a topic comes up that the player is interested in, he can pop his charm and says, I'm going to legend lore that shit. Because that happens to stumble into some Reader Digest magazines I ran across in the 1979 section that was talking about the rise of Ford or something like that. And it's like, so you get into this argument with some dude about cars in your game, and you pop this legend lore, and now you're busting out facts about Ford and like how they outperform Chevy, and how if he wants to use a titanium block, he actually has it off balance with the axle. It needs to be reset. Talking Acuras again. But that's what you could do with a legend lore spell. So it's useful. And if you're running a campaign where you have multiple groups of characters that are performing different types of missions, hey, yeah, George the Barbarian, he's actually picking up a legend lore spell, learning how to read in the library right now. So we can't use him. Instead, I think I'm going to run my my Battlesmith. So I'm going to gear up Fonzie and Toyota Joe. And we're going to tear across the multiverse on the back of a robot dog. So let's get after it. So and then we come back. Maybe I'll drop Fonzie off, and then I'll pick up George the Barbarian again, and then I'll go on the next adventure with him. But then he'll have a Legend Lore charm sitting on top of him. So you can swap around characters that way. So that again is another huge homage to the old Beckney style of running games, where players would have multiple characters. And when something came up that they thought was appropriate for this particular character, that's who they would play that week, because this is that guy's bag. This actually aligns with my character's goals and my backstory. For the past 6 sessions, I've been running other characters, but now we're doing something that Pepe can take advantage of, because I want to push Pepe's culinary skill or whatever, and this happens to do something with like going to a beet farm or some shit. It's like, yeah, I'm going to use Pepe. Let's bring Pepe in. It's like, hey, it's Pepe. So you can have this huge roster of characters that are all like hirelings in your Bastion, and at any time you can just pick up one of the characters, or they can just be community characters in a pot. Everyone just picks up a character. It's like, yeah, I'm going to run Franz, and there's Pepe. Yeah, we got to have Pepe. And yeah, Claire's available, but Sheila always plays Claire, so just leave Claire alone. Blah blah blah, stuff like that. So you can have a round robin squad of, hey, who's showing up today? What do you which challenge, which complication do you guys want to tackle? And that becomes your adventure for the session. So that's the idea. So we need to standardize downtime activities, and we need to standardize facility benefits. And the formatting here is still dog shit. But again, for anyone that wants to play along, the document is literally right here, playtest document. For you, it'll be a read-only document, but this is what we'll be editing. Let me catch up on notes here real quick. Let's see, yeah, very cool. Hey, Alan. Could you bring it into 5e rules for a homebrew? How does the Bastion gain a rank? These are great questions. Darkray, I don't know specifically what you mean there. Could you bring it in? Could you bring it into 5e rules for a homebrew? All the stuff, all the tools. I homebrew. Every campaign that I run from level 1 to 20 takes about 250 to 280 hours ish to complete. I can typically do that in a year. All my campaigns, session 0, I find out what the players want to do. And then I build the world around what kind of a campaign the characters want to play. If I have a world that I've been developing, like my Eberron Spelljammer stuff, for instance, if the kind of story that they want would fit inside there, say, hey, great, I can use Eberron Spelljammer. Or it could be more like, maybe we're going to work on the Isgard Planescape campaign setting. Or maybe we'll go back to Dark Sun for this one. This one makes sense there. Whatever campaign world we have, if the story fits that setting, then we'll lean into that setting and develop it some more. And then all the things that happen inside of the campaign from level 1 to 5, and then 6 to 9, each tier of gameplay, you have a new session 0 to find out where are we at on our path from level 1 to 20, and are we liking the direction that we're heading in? What themes have come up in the campaign so far that you want to lean further into, and then we homebrew off of that as well. So literally all the books I've ever created here were the result of homebrew campaigns that came up. and like, hey, we want to do X, Y, and Z. It's like, well, I don't have any specific mechanics for X or Y yet, but I do have Z. So let's use Z and let's build X and Y on top of that. So literally all these books are designed to be clipped onto any campaign setting that already exists inside of 5e to help fill out, like in this case, like what's going on in the background, what's going on, what's a way for a DM to codify literally anywhere that you go, with mechanics of who's around, what are their goals, what complications are they dealing with right now, and what resources do they have available that your players might want to lean into to either steal or trade with. So hopefully answers the question. Hey, Steve. So yeah, this is designed to be brought into like for example, Storm King's Thunder. You could easily make the Storm King's Flying Citadel a Spelljammer ship that is also an armory, workshop, laboratory, hanging gardens, barracks. You can have all these things inside of there to build out this Bastion facility that's now also like we'd have to have like a fighter craft hangar bay would be a new facility that we'd have to develop specifically for us. But we have the rules about how facilities work. So we could actually build that out, which I will probably do when I start running Storm King's. I'm looking at running Storm King's Thunder as a playtest campaign for the mecha suit mechanics that we're building out for Spelljammer, so that your characters are running around in like 20-foot mecha, fighting dragons like 200-foot dragons or whatever. And as you gain ranks, you scale up your mecha to become bigger because the threats of the dragons become larger. So eventually you're going to be fighting like a mile-long serpent or whatever, and your characters will be equipped with machinery that's capable of dealing with something at that scale with the Spelljammer mechanics that we use. But it's all framed around Storm King's Thunder, but instead maybe we'll make it like a dwarven citadel, and all the different communities that are being threatened by these dragons are like independent floating nation states in their own little cluster asteroid system with its own independent air supply. So maybe we're bouncing from different asteroid to asteroid in our Veritech mecha ships, fighting space dragons to save these little satellite communities, like literally satellite communities. So that's the idea that I've been thinking about in the back end. But we'll be getting to the mecha suit stuff probably in November. So stick around. We'll get to that eventually. And how do you gain Bastion ranks? Bastion ranks require Bastion points. And just to answer the question, because I like talking about my shit. So there's 5 ranks of Bastions. It corresponds with your proficiency bonuses that you gain. We use proficiency dice to represent how well the hirelings in your Bastion operate together when they're attempting to carry out an order that's been issued to them. So basically you roll a d20 plus your rank plus the appropriate die for the rank of your Bastion, and you gain points. So to have a Bastion, you have to have at least 1 Bastion point. That Bastion point is going to be invested into a facility of some sort. Like if you're a cobbler's shop, it's probably going to be like a smithy or like a workshop, for instance. If it's a poisoner's, if it's like a poisoner's guild, maybe it'll be like a spy network hideout, or maybe even a greenhouse or something. So you're going to invest that 1 first initial point. You now have a first rank Bastion. And at low levels, each point is 1 to 9 gets you through first rank, and then 10 to 19 is second rank, 20 to 29 is third rank, 30 to 39 is fourth rank, and then once you have 40 plus points, you're at fifth rank. The gold value of each Bastion point is determined by the rank of your guild, the rank of your Bastion. Sorry, in my campaign, it's always guild, not Bastion. But each Bastion point is worth 100 gold at first rank. By the time you get to 10 points, you'll have spent 1,000 gold pieces, and now you're second rank. So you can get Bastion points either as directly as a reward from an adventure. Like if you perform this task for the king, he'll give you a keep that has 7 Bastion points associated with it. You can distribute those Bastion points as you please to build your fortress, but this is now your fortress that was granted to you by the king. Here you go. Or you could get treasure from dungeons or whatever kind of questing you're doing, and literally buy Bastion points. I want to buy a small pub. Always wanted to have a small, roadhouse shack for drinking in. I thought that would be fun. That's why I went adventuring in the first place. I've got 800 gold now. Technically, your character wouldn't have 800 gold using normal 5e progression until like 4th level. I think at 5th level you have, I think it's like 800 or 900 gold at 4th level, and then like 1500 at 5th level, and then like 3200 by 6th level, and then it just continues to scale up from there. Like the expected amount of gold that your characters will have gained from adventuring equals, like level 4 is like 800 gold. Well, I could spend all that gold, not improve my character, but instead get 8 Bastion points to start building my bar. So I'm going to have a tavern facility, and maybe some rooms to crash in, and maybe we'll have like a small maybe a small library or something. Who knows? Anyway, you're going to deck that thing out. So as you go on adventures and you win treasure in your adventures, you can buy Bastion points to improve your facility. And every time you get in rank, it increases this cost of gold pieces by 10 times. So at 1st to 4th, 5th level, like around 4th or 5th level, that's when you start gaining enough gold to start looking at 2nd rank, which is equivalent to a 5th level character. And now each Bastion point is worth 1,000 gold pieces. And by the time you get to 3rd level, which is 9th level characters, from 9th to 12th level, you're going to be working in 10k quantities of gold. Once you get to 13th plus level, you're going to be dealing with hundreds of thousands of gold. You're going to be dealing with artifacts or like legendary magic items start cropping up. They're worth 200,000 gold a pop. So you're going to own hammerhead ships, which are worth 250,000 gold a piece. Like these costs just keep scaling up, but you don't have anything to do with that wealth. This allows you to sinkhole your treasure, to actually use a sinkhole for you to purchase Bastion points to improve facilities as they expand in power. So you could also win Bastion points by raiding and stealing resources from other Bastions. So you can have settlement warfare utilizing mobs of troops, and we've been working on the mechanics for that in the Bastion conflicts area. Or you can go in as characters and sabotage something and steal treasure, like literally walk out with treasures in your hands as loot from a place that you raided. Depending on how powerful the Bastion is going to determine the difficulty of achieving tasks inside of that effort. So the Bastion system allows the threats of conflict to scale with the power of your characters, which coincides with the power of tasks that your Bastions are capable of performing. So it's a self-referential system that grows in scale over time to have more significant threats. And most of their resources are tied up in these different facilities, or like stabilizing a lifestyle that they purchase for themselves. Like a 5th rank guild that has an aristocratic lifestyle is going to have a very different flavor than one that doesn't worry about its wealth and lives Spartan, so that they can say like a 5th rank dwarven facility would have like very minimal lifestyle standards that they maintain, and that leaves more resources open for them to make more shit, or to make it faster, or to make it tougher, or to hit more orcs more often, whatever. They're going to have a different flavor to them than a posh banker guild, for instance. Like banks want to express wealth, so they're going to spend extra Bastion points to sustain an aristocratic lifestyle for the members of their guild, for instance. So, and then you can build these into settlements and stuff like that to have sprawling settlement regions for you to be able to harvest materials from, etc. So yeah, the ranks are gained by points. You either automatically, if you have it built off of your characters, then you could either spend gold to purchase points, or you could allow the characters to automatically gain points as part of gaining a level. Up to you. I like having a Bastion first, where the Bastion is the most important thing. And again, you just build characters as needed to perform tasks that the Bastion needs done. They could hire your characters because you just rolled them up. If you succeed at the task and bring back what it is that they need, or resolve whatever conflict was occurring, they keep you on their roster as hirelings to send you out on additional missions when they think that you can help fix it. Meantime, enjoy our facilities. So Yeah, hopefully I answered the question for you, but it's here at the front end of it. There's a whole bunch of stuff about orders here, but none of that stuff actually matters anymore, because after all of these facilities is where we start actually defining what actual orders are. I haven't scrapped them out yet here at the front end of the document because I'm not ready to throw them away yet, but it's becoming less and less relevant every time we visit the document. So probably next week or so we're going to throw them away altogether. Anyway, I've been rambling quite a bit, and I haven't actually gotten to work. So let me attempt to do so. We have issuing orders, and we have what font size is this? 18. So I need to bring this one down. Let's go down to 15. There's 7 general orders that were created by wizards in the DMG, and that is crafting, empowering, harvesting, maintaining, researching, recruiting, trade, and empower. Yeah, I missed empower. I think I did. Anyway, these are the 7 different tasks, orders that you can typically issue to bastions in the DMG. So we kept the 7 types of orders. And we've expanded on them, but each of them has like this standardized rule. Like if we're harvesting materials from a settlement, it can either be animal, mineral, or plant. But regardless of what it is that you're harvesting rules always work the same. The settlement rank the settlement rank is based on the bastion rank. So if you don't have an administration that's large enough to be able to handle expanding population, then your settlement basically caps out. And if people keep pouring in, they don't integrate into the settlement and what they actually do is they create a fragment settlement and start having a civil war over resources in the same area. So you want to keep leveling up your government administration to keep ahead of the amount of population that's coming in until you get the 5th rank, which is like water deep. It's like a 5th rank. It's like a 5th rank settlement. It's got 1 million plus people that are there. So, right, so you have a harvesting settlement. Depending on the rank of the settlement, it's going to dictate its size, which we look at further down below. And depending on the rank of the settlement, that's going to dictate the value of items that can be produced from the material that you can gather. If you have, maybe you need to make like a 1,000 sets of padded armor. Well, you're going to need to have a 4K supply of cotton for you to stuff all that padded armor. So that would be at a rare level of quality to be able to accomplish that feat. You'd have to roll a 20 or better on your bastion check, and if it fails, something's going wrong with your cotton supply. And then we'll go down to the complications table and look at what that complication could be, and then we whip up an adventure themed around cotton trouble. And so then your characters go to the cotton fields and figure out what the fuck is going on. And when they solve the problem, the cotton problem resolves. Now we can provide the supplies that we need for the order of 4,000 sets of padded armor that we need for whatever reasons. Maintain is how you maintain a lifestyle for your bastion and the hirelings that are in it, and maintain a lifestyle isn't important beyond being poor. So if you're at least poor, you'll at least stay active. If you fall into a squalid or a wretched lifestyle, things are literally being stolen from your facilities. So you will eventually go bankrupt at this level of poverty. But anything that's at least poor or better is going to be fine, except that you have to re-roll it every week. And that's really unstable. So every time your lifestyle drops, like if it was wealthy this week and next week you roll modest, well, now you've created complications, because you've 2 degrees of degraded lifestyle means 2 complications have arisen that are the reasons why your lifestyle has eroded. If you roll better this week, like if I was comfortable and we just rolled and things became wealthy, then there are no complications, no problems. But if you wanted to, you could spend bastion points to basically sustain, like concentration, sustain a lifestyle for your Bastion. And how long you can do that is dependent on the rank of the Bastion, but you could lock in a lifestyle, and so now you don't have to worry about issuing an order or potentially failing at maintaining a good lifestyle for your facilities, so or for your Bastion in general. So, and these require Bastion points. You spend 1 Bastion point per facility per rank to improve your facilities. So like if you're a first rank, you can't have better than a first rank facility. So you may as well like diversify, get a number of different type of facilities up and running, but they're all going to be first rank. So you don't need to spend more than 1 point each. However, you need to have 10 points to get the second rank. So that might mean you have 3 or 4 points laying around that you don't necessarily need to make your facilities go, but you do need them to get the second rank. And then once you get the second rank, you can start spending those points to level up all your facilities again. But you can also save some of those points and then spend them on your lifestyle. And depending on what kind of a lifestyle you want to maintain for yourself, that's the cost of like a poor only requires a 1 Bastion point. But if while you're sustaining that, you won't at least get robbed. You won't go wretched or squalid, so you're good. But like once you get up to aristocratic, it costs you 5 points to maintain an aristocratic lifestyle. But it also means you need to roll a DC 30 to get it in the first place. So a first rank Bastion can't even become aristocratic. You don't have the resources to ever even hit that number because you're going to roll a D20 plus 1 plus a D4. The best you can roll is 25. So on a perfect roll, you would then have a wealthy lifestyle. And it would cost you 4 points to sustain that. But you could. So if you can hit that 25, you can put 4 points into it. Once you can hit a natural, once you get up to a 30, then you can have that aristocratic lifestyle, put 5 points into it. That means that you need to have 5 Bastion points laying around that you're not doing anything with. So your first rank facility, or your first rank Bastion, maybe you only need 3 facilities, but you need 10 points to get level 10. Well, great. Let's just stockpile some extra Bastion points that we don't actually need to use right now, so that once we can start hitting good lifestyles, we can lock them in. Because again, if you hit a lifestyle and then you can't keep that lifestyle in the future, you're creating complications that require actions to be taken to prevent your facilities from going into chaos. So, and chaos is represented as basically a disadvantage on Bastion die rolls for other orders that you're trying to execute. Yeah, and like if you have a lifestyle complication, and if you can't resolve that complication, it starts costing you Bastion points. So you'll eventually, if you can't maintain a lifestyle for yourself, you're going to start losing hirelings. You start losing value. You can always buy it back by going on an adventure and investing more cash into your Bastion to float the Bastion basically on your physical labor. It's like this place doesn't have to, because this lifestyle that you're rolling is basically how self-sufficient is your Bastion if your characters aren't there. Does it rely on your characters to bankroll it, or is it actually self-productive, or is it actually creating abundance that you can expand on? So those are different things that you can mess around with, like different ways to utilize geo politics and large-scale economics as a single die roll, represented through how well your Bastion is managing its resources. So you don't have to worry about how many suits of armor did we make and how much did we sell them for and how much does Andy cost again? Fuck. Claire just got into the guild, so is she going to cost more now too? You don't worry about that. You just make a single die roll. And if the lifestyle goes up, life is good. If the lifestyle goes down, things are rough and complications and problems are happening. So you have to solve the problems to keep the Bastion running, just like any other small business person would. And you can make those into adventures, or they can just be orders that you issue to be resolved. And you can use Bastion points for additional orders. So if you've already booked up your facilities to do a whole bunch of stuff, but now they're having complications, until the complication is solved, they can't progress. So you could then spend extra Bastion points to issue additional orders to try to resolve the complications. So that's what the Bastion points are used for. So you need Bastion points to gain rank, and once you gain rank, you spend those Bastion points on facilities, and any extra points you have laying around is basically a meta currency, like a mana pool, that you can spend to do shit through your Bastion with. So that's the idea. Recruit. is picking up new hirelings and like specialist monsters. You can make them into sidekicks to go on adventures with you if they're level appropriate. Here's your level breakdown. Again, it's 1, 5, 9, 13, 17 levels as a sidekick. There's also a corresponding CR for monsters. Up to first rank is first rank. Second, third, fourth, fifth is CR 1, 5, 9, 13, and then 14 plus is fifth rank. This basically trails the CR basically outranks characters by like up to a CR1 creature is worth basically first to fourth level characters. Up to 5 CR monsters are basically characters up to 5th to 8th level. Like it kind of corresponds, and the DMG or the monster manual isn't that far off the mark with that being accurate. You can like squint your eyes a little bit and you can see it pretty easily. So like having a 16th like a CR 16 demon running around with your 19th level warlock, not that big of an issue. Not nearly as big of an issue as it would be to have that CR 16 demon as your ally at 5th level. That would be completely unbalancing. But by 18th level, you can easily kill a CR 16 demon. It's not that tough anymore. And once you can easily kill it, then it basically becomes something that you can utilize as a resource, and it doesn't break the game. At least that's what I've found over the past 40 years. Recruiting soldiers, how many soldiers you can have. Research. It's basically like you ask the DM a question, he has to answer you truthfully. So depending on how high you roll on your research check is how many questions you get to ask. And if you don't hit at least a 10, and not only do you not learn anything, but you create a complication that's causing trouble for you. Like maybe you accidentally crack open a curse, and so now your bastion is afflicted with some sort of curse that you need to break. Stuff like that. Trade, so you don't have to craft things. You don't have to harvest anything if you don't want to. You can just trade for it. It takes longer, but you can do it. Yeah, those are the basic orders. And then we have variant orders, which work exactly the same way as basic orders work, but you achieve them in different sort of ways. Like for example, if you were playing a Selesnya character in Ravnica, and your character breeds sap rolling tokens, you wouldn't be recruiting soldiers onto your team. Like down here, here's the number of soldiers that you can CR 1/2 soldiers, depending on the rank of your facility, determine in the difficulty that you roll to gather them, to recruit them. This is the number of CR 1/2 characters that you or soldiers you can have as an army to go attack another bastion. But like say a Selesnya sap rolling farmer wouldn't be making a recruiting soldier check. They would be making a harvest sap rolling token check. The end result is going to be a 1/2 CR sapling roll monster creature. It's a plant, not a soldier. And you would use nature lore instead of like influence, instead of persuasion to influence them. But ultimately, it's the exact same result. You need to have a 3rd rank settlement, which will be large enough to grow 20,000 sap rolling tokens, as opposed to like you would need a 3rd rank settlement, which is like miles in size, to be able to house and feed 20,000 soldiers. It's like it scales up that same sort of way. So, but the only difference between the sap rolling token farmer and somebody who is actively building a promenade and a military facility to house soldiers in barracks and battlegrounds and stuff like that. For the soldiers, it's a recruiting order. For the sap rolling token character, it's a harvest order. It's the only difference. Otherwise, they're mechanically exactly identical. That's what a variant order is. A basic order works as written that we have listed here. The variant orders work exactly like basic orders do, but in ways that you don't expect them. Like that same Selesnya farmer really leaning into the idea of harvest could be growing magic items instead of empowering them. And so you plant a particular type of item, and then if you're successful at making that plant grow, at the end of it, it will sprout, I don't know, boots of speed or some shit, whatever. However you make the game work. But that's a ridiculous example of how a variant order would be able to be used to do the same sort of stuff that you can do with your basic orders. And then we have unique orders, which uses an order but does something completely different with it. Like the auction house, for instance. You can use the trade skill to try to locate a specific sort of magic item, as opposed to empowering it, or like trading. You can generally find items, like non-magical items in general. But this auction house shows you specifically how you can request a specific type of magic item, what the difficulty for that is, and how long it's going to take for your people to find that item and be able to purchase it. And once they do find it, you give them a bastion point and you get the item back, because the bastion point is always more expensive than the magic item is worth. So it's always appropriate to scale with the item. So bastion points are basically equal to magic items at the same level. So like a 5th rank bastion point's 1,000,000 gold pieces each, while a legendary magic item is 200,000 gold pieces. So a 4th rank bastion is worth 100,000 gold pieces per point. So if my DM allowed me to have a legendary magic item with a 4th rank facility, then I would be able to spend 2 bastion points to acquire that. But I would literally not have enough points. Actually, that's not true, because I could have 20 points as a 3rd rank bastion, and I would be able to afford, by spending all 20 points, each point is worth 10,000 gold. No, that doesn't work, because as soon as I spend 10 bastion points, I degrade down to a 2nd rank facility, and each bastion point becomes worth only 1,000 gold. So at best, I would only be able to accumulate 111,000 gold is the absolute max amount of gold value a 3rd rank facility could be. So I would never be able to purchase a legendary magic item with bastion points unless I'm already 4th rank. So that it has that internal scaling price, that internal scaling working for you. But you'd have to destroy an entire bastion for one character to get one magic item, and it would take a whole season to find it. So like 90 days later, you have it. And as soon as you find it, you got to scrap the entire bastion, unless you're able to accumulate more bastion points. So now maybe you're racing the clock to try to raise enough money to get the legendary magic item. That's kind of like, like so many 1980s movies. We have to win the big race so that we can keep mom's coffee shop open. Let's do it, guys. And then you have a montage about fixing up a boat before you go on a race. That would actually be a fun adventure. I would totally do that. So there's basic downtime activities, which is going to be similar to the basic orders. Let's first look at all the downtime activities and see if there's a structure that we can say these are what basic downtime activities look like. And then of those standard downtime activities, is there any variant downtime activities? So unique orders, we want to go downtime activities. I didn't need to erase that. We're going to go with, and then governing settlements is a separate category. That's a different thing. Downtime. This is going to be basic downtime. This is going to be variant downtime. And this is going to be unique downtime. $15. Character can participate in one downtime activity per Bastion turn, whether they are on an adventure or not. Basic downtime. Ooh, that's a decent point. A character that does not participate in a character that does not go on an adventure can participate in 2 downtime activities per Bastion turn. That's decent incentive. Let's see. A character must spend a character must begin and end the Bastion turn at the Bastion to benefit from these activities unless described otherwise. That's our loose chassis right now. Basic downtime is okay, and we have one basic downtime activity. Basic downtime. These wrong. There. Basic downtime activities. Basic downtime activities. There is a limited number of basic downtime activities. Characters can choose while at the Bastion. Period. Let's see. Do it yourself. DIY. Do it yourself. Do it yourself. That's horrible. There's got to be a better term for that. But for now, wait a second. DIY project. Let's do that. As a downtime activity instead. Oh my god, that makes so much sense, because generally a downtime day is considered 8 hours, and then you have 8 hours of long rest, so that means there's 8 hours of free time. If you're going to be at your facility without participating in an adventure, you would theoretically be able to perform 2 downtime tasks at once. In a week, that would be roughly 50 some odd hours. So as long as you're beginning and ending an adventure in your facility, it's theoretically possible that you'll be able to scrape together enough hours at the front and end of the week for you to justify having one downtime activity, as long as your character is actually using the Bastion as a base of operations to roll adventures out of. If you're having extended absences, you're disconnecting yourself from the Bastion, you can no longer take downtime activity in that Bastion, unless you're traveling by ship or something, and as part of the process of you having control of that ship, you convert the ship into a Bastion so that you can have downtime activity in transit from one location to another, which is a great reason for you to lean into this idea of Bastions being these modular things that you can basically just drop into anything that you can sleep in. So anyway, DIY project is a downtime activity instead of, there we go. Instead of issuing an order to your Bastion, you do it yourself. Hey, I already had the language in there, using the facilities. You make an ability check with proficiency, adding Bastion dice as appropriate instead of issuing an order or making a Bastion test. The result of your character's ability check determines the success of the order, or if a complication arises, or if or if there is, or if a complication occurs. Determines whether whether the activity is successful or if a complication arises. That's my alarm to let me know it's been 20 minutes. It's 7:11 now here in Seattle. Feeling pretty good about myself right now. I like to check in every now and again. Whenever the alarm pops, it helps make sure that I'm not down a wormhole too far gone. I need to pull out and do something else. It also allows me to check my emotional state and my physical state to see if I'm going to continue to have a good presence of energy and stamina to sustain the stream for another 20 minutes. So far, so good. We're doing good. If a downtime activity is in order with a duration exceeding the Bastion turn, you must continue using downtime to sustain the order. If you choose to end the activity, the Bastion must be issued an order and make a new one. Oh, this is a good point. So in DIY, there is crafting. There is crafting, empowering, harvesting, maintaining, recruiting, researching, and trading. Let's do this real quick. Trading. This is must begin and end Bastion turn at the Bastion. Must remain at the Bastion the entire turn. Must remain at the Bastions because you're crafting an item in the facilities. You're empowering a magic item in the facilities. You're harvesting at the settlement. Trading, you only have to begin and end at your turn because it's assumed that you're off trading. Researching, depending on whether the research is through documented facts or let's see, if research is by what's the word I'm looking for, if research is performed through review of documentation or consulting sages, you must remain at the Bastion the entire turn. If research is performed through connecting with current living sources or viewing a location, you must begin and end your Bastion turn at the Bastion. I'll probably end up changing that to at the facility. And then recruiting, that's typically going to be out looking for people to bring in. And then maintaining could be like selling stuff or working the shop. Doesn't really matter as long as you begin and end your turn there. So some of these things require you to be present. The crafting stuff does. and the rest of them don't require you to be there all week, but you need to be there and back again. So you have some flexible float room there. So, and this is if your characters are performing. And so we've now established that with each downtime activity, we need to determine, do they need to be at the facility the entire time, or is this an excursion that they're coming back with results? So do it yourself is, again, the 7 orders that we could already issue, and you're just doing it yourself instead of issuing an order for your Bastion to do it for you, which is the essence of issuing orders, to have NPCs perform downtime activity for your character. Except that the DMG doesn't provide enough mechanical depth for us to standardize and codify what those downtime activities should in general be. They provide a lot of interesting ideas of what downtime activities can be, but they don't teach us how to build downtime activities for characters to perform that could be shunted off to the facilities in the first place. So with the creation of the Bastion system, they're actually allowing us to reverse engineer it and flip the script. It's like, this is what your Bastion can do when you issue an order. And if you want to stick around, you can add your character's ability check instead of, and use the Bastion dice to like Bardic Inspiration, improve the result of that check would normally be on its own. But the drawback is that you're being bound to this facility somehow to be able to do that. So that's the idea. So that's do it yourself. DIY project. I love that. Yeah, oh God, we've only been streaming for 75 minutes. We're doing really good. I can feel energy though, so I'm probably gonna be flopping around in my seat a lot. Just to give everyone fair warning. Is there, okay, so that's the general idea. That's a basic downtime activity. So now we're going to go through the rest of the book and look at every downtime activity and assess, does that coincide with what a basic activity is? Is that a variant downtime activity? Or is this a unique downtime activity? And we won't know what variant activities are until we know what the basic downtime activities are. And then we'll see, is that variant or is it unique? But apparently, I need to take a bio break. So I'm going to BRB. Be right back, guys. All right. Something else that I've realized is that so like the point usage. Point usage is typically for installing facilities into your Bastion and basically maintaining them by having those points basically permanently placed on them. Downtime activity. Characters that spend Bastion turn. Downtime activity, empower characters. Where are we at? Very front of the book. All right, that's a fine place to be. I think another downtime activity we're going to end up dealing with is empowering characters. Bruff. Boons and charms. That might be what we actually call it. Because we don't actually issue an order to empower characters with boons and charms. they spend downtime activity to acquire them by basically resonating with the facility that provides it for them. What I did want to say is, since we're sitting here at the front end of the book right now, and we're going to be disintegrating this section over time. We've got bastions. We used to call them resources. Or acquired as... Okay, so we need to have a separate conversation about bastion points. Specifically. Hold on. Jive turkey. No. Thank you. Yes. Spend bastion points on maintaining facilities. Sustain. We determined last time that sustaining is different from maintaining. You maintain a lifestyle, but you can sustain it with points. Sustain in this system refers to spending points to keep something in your bastion. So we can sustain facilities. Sustain a lifestyle. Issue additional orders. Because normally you get a number of orders equal to 1 plus your rank. And then you can purchase additional orders on top of it. I'm gonna consult the Oracle. I'm not sure if this is a good idea or not. I can see this being a good idea. I can see this not being a good idea. If I have to issue, like if I issue the craft order more than once to my bastion, and I'm third rank and I roll a D8. If I'm issuing that crafting order, if I only have one craft order, I'm going to roll a D8. If I have two craft orders, like I want to make shoes and I want to make hats, I'm overburdening my bastion with too many things to craft at the same time. So the first one will still be at a D8, but the second order using craft is going to be at a D6. And then it's going to degrade to a D4 if I'm issuing 3 orders at the same time to craft. And if I issue a fourth order, it then becomes just a flat D10, a D20 in this case, plus 3 because the third rank. So I have the D8, I have the D6, I have the D4, and then eventually I don't get an extra die at all. It's just D20 plus third rank. So it gets more and more difficult for me to hit higher numbers as I continue this. If all I'm doing is cranking out a shitload of low value stuff, then yeah, maybe I can crank six orders to a 5th rank facility could crank out 6 crafting orders of content with a D12, D10, D8, D6, D4, and then a flat die roll of plus 5. That could just, well, I mean, there you go. So you could do a bunch of shit and probably hit like a DC 10. Not very difficult for you to hit a DC 10 when at minimum you have a D20 plus 5 roll. You're probably going to get it right. So if you're just building a bunch of cheap stuff, common magic items, common crafting gear, you can crank out a lot of them. Or you could press your luck in trying to create 2 high-cost items and create a bunch of complications for yourself. When you have a complication and you don't make an adventure out of it, and you relegate it to your bastion to resolve for you, that it's going to be one sort of order. So if you already have 2 crafting orders going, and now you've got a complication that arises that requires a crafting roll, fuck. I'm going to use that with 2 die. I'm going to drop my die 2 ranks to be able to accommodate this complication. It's a DC 20 die roll that I need to hit, and I'm a 3rd rank facility with a plus 3 die roll, and I don't have any dice added onto that. So I have to roll a 17 or better to be able to resolve this complication. Maybe I should actually make that an adventure so that my characters can go out and gain experience points instead of me just burning a bastion point to fail a die roll. Because that's what's going to end up happening, and I'm not going to make any progress because if I can't resolve the complication, then the task is put on hold till the next bastion turn, when I could try to resolve the complication again or have an opportunity to yet again be ran as an adventure. And every time I delay, the complication gets worse, and it eventually ranks up and it becomes more difficult of a task, and you eventually got to let it go. So there's pressure here of like failing ability checks, although the task itself will never fail. You have to abandon the task. And if you can never actually achieve the task until, like, say you gain a rank, then you may as well let the task go because you're not going to be able to succeed at it. It's a waste of your time right now. And these are things that you just discover through the random progression of the campaign. So right now, what I'm considering is if I had an extra order and I have a depleted die, could I spend extra bastion points to replenish the die? If I can use a bastion point to issue additional orders, which is a form of fatiguing a facility that's already being asked to perform, there's already been issued an order, now you're double booking them. That's where that reduced die roll comes from. But I could issue points. I could use points to issue additional commands, even though they're already fatigued. So that then means that maybe I could spend bastion points to also reconstitute or refresh my dice pool so that I don't have to roll a fatigue die. I can keep my best die on hand. So I'm going to ask the Oracle if that's a good idea, because I could see it being a good idea. This is the Oracle. You may have heard of Oracle dice systems before. My Oracle dice are 2d6. I roll one die as a question, and I roll another die as the answer. The question is always yes or no. It's always a yes question. Is this a good idea? Is a yes or no question. If the die roll succeeds, it's yes. If the die roll fails, it's no. The first die asks a question and sets the difficulty of the task. The answer has to be equal to or better than the question's number. So on a d6, if I roll a 1, it's literally impossible for me to fail that die roll. So the answer, if the question is a 1, the answer is absolutely yes, guaranteed to be yes. If the roll is 6, then it's most likely not, because I have to roll a 6. I have to basically roll 2 6-sided dice and get 6 on both of them for this answer to be true. Otherwise, it's false, which means no. So, and then I can mix and match them. How difficult is the task? It's almost impossible that this is true. Well, I rolled a 6 anyway, so despite it seeming impossible, it is true. So narrate it that way. If it's a 1 and I roll a 1 as the answer, despite this thing being impossible to fail, your team almost failed anyway. Narrate that. Narrate how badly they barely succeeded at this task. That your yes is minimal. If I have a 6... If the question is a 1 and I roll a 6 as the answer, not only is it incredibly likely that this is true, but you performed it in the best way you could possibly do it. This was like a natural 20. Tell me how awesome this event was for you. Or if like I roll a 6 as my question and I roll a 1 as the answer, not only was this not likely to ever come true at all, sorry, use my 6er. Not only was this most likely never going to happen, but you did the absolute worst you could possibly do in trying to accomplish that goal at all. You have completely failed, and we're all dumber for having seen you attempt it. So like that's like your different degrees. So I roll my dice and ask them a question. Is refurbishing dice a good idea? Is that a good use of bastion points? Because you get them back at the end of the bastion turn anyway. So it's just how you're using your pool right now. Is that a good idea? 2 and 5. The question is 2. The answer is 5. And the question is always the die closest to me or to the left. So it's either closer to me or to the left of this die. And so this die is the answer is either further away from me or to the right of the question. It's rare that it ever changes. If they happen to land on top of each other, The question is on top and the answer is underneath, because I have to remove the top die to reveal the answer. So that's how that works. And if either one of them fall on the floor, I re-roll both of them. So, yes, spending Bastion points, it's an okay use. It's good enough for playtesting. Issue additional orders. Restore the Bastion. Let's see. Ignore dice fatigue for issuing the same order more than once per turn. Thank you, Deadly Die. Ignore dice fatigue. Issue additional orders. Sustain a Bastion lifestyle. Sustain facilities. Some facilities can have unique ways to spend Bastion points as detailed below. 1, 2, 3, 4 standard uses of basic uses of Bastion points, and then you have unique uses of Bastion points. Isn't that just makes sense? Basic uses for Bastion points. Unique uses of Bastion points. There we go. And then I get to go down and I get to drill through each of these for how Bastion points are used. So we have our Bastions, we have Bastion points, and we have sustain facilities. Sustain facilities in your Bastion. Sustain a lifestyle for your Bastion. Issue additional orders to your Bastion. Ignore dice fatigue for issuing the same order more than once per turn to your Bastion. That's Bastion, period. This would be when you issue an order that would fatigue your Bastion dice, you can ignore that penalty during the Bastion test. Something like that. A Bastion test just basically means a D20 test. Something like that. Issue additional orders to your Bastion. This would be... you can issue more orders than the Bastion can normally carry out, costing one additional Bastion point per order up to the rank of the Bastion. So from first rank Bastion, I can only spend 1 point to issue an additional order. From a 5th rank Bastion, I can spend 5 points to issue 5 additional Bastions. You could instead create a whole new Bastion by taking some points and just franchising and starting another Bastion that specializes in a particular task. Like if I need to have a fuckload of shoes, maybe I should have a bunch of different shoe shops capable of producing shoes independently. So I don't have to fatigue one massive facility. I can instead have various smaller facilities that are easier to operate more efficiently to create smaller batches of shoes, but more of them. Like overall. Anyway, that's the idea that goes behind that. Actually, this is technically a unique order. Wait. No, it's not. As described in the basic maintain order, you can expend Bastion points to sustain the current level of lifestyle gained, maintained by the Bastion. And then sustain facilities in your Bastion. You can expend Bastion points to install and sustain different facilities in your Bastion up to 1 point per rank per facility. So if I have 5 facilities and I'm second rank, I could put a total of 10 points into those 5 facilities. There you go. That would be the very beginning of a second rank facility. Because you need 10 points to be second rank, so I could basically have 5 facilities all at second rank immediately without any spare points for rerolls or like to issue additional orders or to prevent my dice from being fatigued or to sustain a lifestyle or whatever. If I gain more points, then I can start doing those extra perks. I've got the yawns. It's because I'm talking so much. All right. So that's what I wanted to say up front about Bastion points. I feel like I want to grab I feel like I need to cut that out. Cut that out. Go up here to orders. Issuing orders. Something like that. Bastion rank, Bastion die. Don't need this. Hopefully this is entertaining for folks, because this is what game design looks like. You don't often lift the hood to see the grind of it all, but this is the grind, which is why I make the whole thing available to people to read as we go along. So there's value here for you. Aside from my fevered pitch dream rants, there's actual value here for you guys while it's still being built. And if what we're doing is compelling enough that you're wanting to peel open the document and thumb through it to see what's kind of laying around inside of here for you guys to mess around with. Again, if you can navigate it, because it's still very roughshod, but if you can navigate the thing, it's available for you to use. It works. We're just codifying things right now, and we're resolving the list of orders. So basic orders. There we go. Delete. So far, so good. So what? So we can blip this. We've already resolved all the crafting mechanics. I'm going to actually take all this craft, empower, harvest, recruit, trade. We have harvesting taken care of already. Have crafting resolved. We do not have this resolved. Okay. I can delete all that because it's already covered down in the book earlier. Governorship, maintain settlement. So this is settlement stuff. So let's peel this out. I'm going to drop it down to the settlement section, which is still being built. Settlements and franchises are kind of the same thing. Meta points and orders. Let's go here. Let's go down to governing settlements, because we're going to get here eventually. Let's call it franchising and settlements. Franchising is when you have multiple bastions that are controlled by one central bastion. Franchises. Or subsidiaries. Settlements are when the facilities of the bastion are in like land, in large scale land that you can harvest from, like a mine in a mountain, or fields of crops, or pastures of animals. These are all settlements that require larger space than inside the bastion. The bastion is on the settlement instead of the facilities being in the bastion. The bastion is in the settlement, so it flips. And that's how you can have bastions be the framework for a settlement. So if you go to Waterdeep, you can look at Waterdeep and look at its different districts, and what is each one of those districts, what kind of facility is that district kind of leaning into? The wharf district is leaning into trade. With waterways, storehouses, there's going to be pubs down there. There's going to be guild halls. It's the kind of shit you're going to find down there. If you go to the scribe district, you're going to find libraries, archives, scriptoriums, reliquaries, maybe some pubs, and maybe some crafting facilities like different types of shops and stuff like that. It's going to have a different flavor from the wharf district. So each of the districts in Waterdeep can be treated as their own bastion. Like that district is a bastion inside of the settlement of Waterdeep, and the main facility is the High Quarter, where Castle, whatever it's called, the castle is located at, and that's basically its own bastion. That is the seat of government that is overseeing the settlement. But all of these districts that have grown up around that central district are all basically franchises that are operating underneath the governance of the facility that rules Waterdeep. So Waterdeep is a settlement, and all of the districts inside of the settlement are franchises of the government. And the area that those districts occupy also have privately owned bastions as different shops, services, park locations, etc., etc., etc. So you can break these things down. Once you have the scaffold of this from 1 to 5, you can start breaking down the structure into this like a fractal. You have the large organization, and it's the same as the smaller organizations, which are fractured into smaller organizations, which can be fractured even into smaller organizations, and that's basically like 4 tiers. But then you can also scale up. Like Waterdeep is a part of Cormyr, and so Cormyr is a facility that's scaling up to a nation, from a city to a nation. So the settlements, multiple settlements, make up a nation, but the nation has its own governing facility that has to be of a sufficient rank to be able to command and control Waterdeep, Baldur's Gate, blah blah blah. I think Silvery Moon is in Cormyr. No, it's adjacent to it. Anyway, it has all these, like, it scales up. And then even beyond that, if there was, like, say, a world government that controlled the different nations on the Sword Coast, then you would have then Cormyr and Am and Fae. Those could all be sub-districts or like their own nation franchises inside of, like, I don't know, Toril as a whole. If you had a global government that oversaw all of it, for instance, but you don't have that level of scale on Cormyr, or on Forgotten, in the Forgotten Realms on Toril. At most, it gets to the nation level. So you got nation, and then settlements or cities inside of that. So nation, and then settlements, and then inside the settlements there are individually owned businesses or organizations. And then those organizations could potentially be subletted down into smaller scale franchises, like mom and pop places. Small individual, like Cormyr could have Waterdeep as a stronghold facility that then has an outer community constabulary, and that constabulary has individual sheriffs that, like, oversee specific thorps and villages that are inside of the outer, like the outer harvest district for the wheat, the wheat harvesting that happens more towards the heartland. So that's 4 degrees, and then after that 4th degree, you get down to the individual soldiers that are actually doing scouting. For instance, they could have like a cart that they use as a bastion for them to crash out in and practice and study and blah blah when they're on long distance travels. But after you get through those 4 ranks, you're basically getting down to the final individual level Again, like that mom and pop shop. So it has that 5 degrees of scale inside of the nation structure. And then it goes basically like global empire, and then it scales up from there, from global empire to system-wide to controlling multiple systems. So global control, system-wide, multiple systems, like multi-dimensional existence. Yeah, that's the 3 degrees you can go up. So from a city, nation, global, system-wide, multiplanar nation. Those are the 5 degrees of settlements, essentially. So, and my timer's about to pop again, so I think we're still doing good. Now we're at we're breaking down the information here. Meta points, spending points to improve facilities, additional orders. We have that already. But I mean, there is language here, so we may as well grab and scrape, right? Oh wait, is that up here? Yeah. What was this? Why was I chasing this? I'm sure I had a good idea. Additional orders. Yeah, we've already said all that already. Why is my mouse is being difficult? Sometimes it gets a little fidgety when I'm streaming. Yeah, there we go. Let's go find orders. Go to issuing orders. There we go. Bastion points. Got rid of these. We don't need those anymore. Which means we're done with meta points and orders. Recruiting. Already have that. Already have specialist sidekicks. Already have research. Good point. Go down here. I want to look at, we're going to drop this into gathering information or research. These are research ideas. I don't know if I'm ready to let them go yet or not. Anything unique here I need to keep? No. We already have risky investments taken care of down below. Gaining resources. We already have gaining resources. We already have auctioning resources. Yeah, I think we've got all that cleaned up. So a little bit big. Let's take this. Bastions. Bastion points. Unique uses of bastion points. Facilities. Size of facilities. Facility orders and features. Okay, this is slowly coming together. Let's do this. Subsection. Amazing, it fits. All right. Let's get in front of the orders. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, cool. This is all flowing together more sensibly now. We'll get to those. Okay. Okay, we finally got things organized. We've cleaned up the front end of the document, so we're only looking... So things are starting to fold together in the proper order. Why are you freezing up? There it is. Okay, cool. Everything had to catch up. I'm going to drop this down to... There. Do that. Okay, that's caught up. Bastions, facilities... Go through all the fucking facilities, get to the orders. Okay, so downtime activities comes before orders. Let's, I guess where we're at right now is codifying orders. Downtime activities. We already codified orders. Let's go to downtime activities. I'm going to pull open a notepad. See, because we spent time explaining what basic orders are in the orders section down below. When we mention a basic order, all we have to do is say what that basic order, how does this facility deal with that basic order specifically. Like the magic item, the non-magical items you can create is according to the list of gear that we started this session with. Empowering is the list of magic items that you can specifically make, following the rules of making magic items. And then it has a unique order, which is research. So archive has facility benefits and basic orders, but no downtime activity. Auction house, benefits and orders, but no downtime activity. No downtime. No downtime. No downtime. There we go. Gaming hall, downtime. Gaming hall, a character that spends a Bastion turn in this facility. Inspired is turns in this facility is inspired with fortune. Is inspired with fortune, benefiting an upcoming adventure or any Bastion orders issued. A character that spends a Bastion turn in this facility, inspired with fortune, benefiting an outcome of a Bastion order issued. The character gains a number, is inspired with fortune. The character gains a number of downtime dice equal to the rank of the facility. Oh, there you go. Downtime dice. Yeah. Downtime activity. Let's see. Government equals COD check advantage. Goes downtime dice. I think we see downtime dice at the theater as well. Library downtime. The next downtime activity shows up with library. Not a lot of downtime stuff going on right now. Let's see. Gain a charm. What level spell is Legend Lore? Is that 3rd level? Let's go D&D Beyond. Or is it fucking 5th level? Oh God, that's expensive. That's a 3rd rank. So technically, the library shouldn't grant you. You shouldn't get access to the library until 3rd rank. That's pretty high level. How do I feel about that? I feel kind of crappy about that. Beep, 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 doo. The list. Go on, update. Thank you, you sour patch. Library. Bum, 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 bum. Library is up first. Remind me, what does the library do? Legend Lore Charm. Can use the research order to study any specific topic that your library has books for as detailed in the issuing orders. You can issue the research order to study any specific topic that your library has books for. Is that, Period. To determine if the library has relevant information roll 1d6. If it is equal to or less, if the result is equal to or less than the rank of the library of this facility. If the result is equal to or less than the rank of this facility, the relevant information is present. Otherwise, a complication occurs. Otherwise, a research complication occurs. Roll high. Otherwise, the right word is otherwise. Otherwise, a research complication occurs. Hey, let's go look at research complications real quick to see if those are still relevant. Research complications. So when you have a complication, you can roll any complication that you roll a d6 to determine which complication it is. And notice that if you have a research complication, research is not one of the solutions. You have to do something else other than research, because you can't research your way out of a research problem if the problem is you lack the materials needed to research, which could be the case. Facilities mysteriously damaged or sabotaged, preventing information from being researched. Craft orders to repair the facility. Empower. Magical warding prevents hirelings from completing the order. If you use the empower order to resolve, the check will dispel the wardings, preventing further research. Of course, these can all be adventures, and here's the plot hooks that go along with them. Harvest is the issue. Bastion is infested with memory loss fungus. Hirelings forgot information discovered. Harvest order to gather the fungus and clear the bastion of the infestation. Maintain order is a hireling discovers a dark secret. They're afraid to research any further. Maintain order is to offer additional pay. Maintain order to offer additional pay reward to continue despite the work, which basically is will eventually going to translate this into maintain order to improve quality of lifestyle as pay a reward to continue despite the risk. Recruit Complication is the target of research becomes hostile and retaliates against the Bastion. The Bastion interloping. Target of research becomes hostile and retaliates. We might have to change that one. Recruit orders to increase security at the Bastion. Trade. Researchers lack the exotic materials or resources required to proceed with research, so the trade order is to acquire the required material or resources to proceed in research. That just kind of makes sense, right? Let's see. So yeah, I think I like that. Since the library is a catch-all that doesn't have any specific information, it can be anything. Then I think that that setup works to determine if the library has relevant information. Blah. Let's look at the archive real quick. Oh, huh. No, I think I'm good with that. I don't think. Although the rules consistently observe that I would have to be, for legend lore, I would have to, the library would have to be 3rd rank because of what that charm is. But legend lore is such a nothing burger of a it's shorthand. It's not, I don't think it's actually it's different. It's different from like, here, have an arcane spell. You know, it's a little different from that. It's representing the information acquired, because legend lore just basically tells you everything about something of significance. So the library is determining if it's significant or not, and it has information about it. Thus, you gain the benefit of the legend lore spell, which is the same as answering a bunch of questions. Okay, I think that jives. I'm starting to get tired. Let's push on. See if we can find a resolution. We got up to library. That's where we paused. Library. Meditation chamber. Equals divine charm of basically any spell. Gain a legend lore charm. Oh yeah, it's only one spell as opposed to any spell, so I guess we could technically break the rule on it. I guess I'm okay with that. Meditation chamber. What about oh no, the facility benefits. That's what the crypt had. We'll deal with facility benefits a separate session. Let's just keep drilling our way through this, see if we can get to an end. Menagerie, downtime. Menagerie equals. Oh, okay. Menagerie is damage resistance. Observatory. Arcane Charm. Sorry, Arcane Charm. Legend Lore Charm. Observatory. What else? Reliquary equals Arcane, Divine, Druidic, Charm. Take your pick. Sanctuary equals Druidic, Charm. Sanctum. Sanctum equals temporary HP. Sanctum equals Word of Recall Charm. What requires 4th rank? It's a specific charm though, so I feel like dropping the Sanctum down to 3rd rank, or maybe even maybe even 2nd rank. Maybe maybe rank maybe level -2. Sanctuary is Word of Recall is a 6th level spell. That's 3rd rank. No, wait. That's 4th rank. It's a 7th level spell. Is that right? Hold on. Yeah, it's a 7th level spell. That's right. So that is 4th rank. But maybe we could make it 3rd rank instead, which would be 2nd. That would take it down to 3rd rank, and then the library could then be dropped down to 2nd rank because the Legend of Lore is a 5th level spell, 3rd rank, 3rd to 5th, because it's a specific spell. That actually feels right. Yeah, let's do that. Sanctum requires 3rd rank. Get out of here. Yeah, now we can make library be 2nd rank. That makes sense to me. That feels right. Hey, what's up? Strange Town Fan Sims 2. Hey, doing good. That is an ornate name. And it sounds like there are many of you. Not just one. At least 2, right? Cheers. Doing good, my guy. Thanks for jumping in. Yeah. Library 2nd, because Legend Lore is a 5th level spell which you get access to as a 3rd rank facility. But it's not just a general charm. See, all these other facilities have just general charms. Pick a spell, it is yours. And so that's very general. And you have to be of a corresponding rank to choose the spell. So like a 5th level spell, you have to be 3rd. 6th level, it has to be 3rd rank. 7th and 8th level spell, you have to be 4th rank. 9th level spell, you have to be 5th rank, minus wish. So you'd get access to those things eventually. But with this, it's a specific charm and only that specific spell that you gain as a charm. So that feels more appropriate. Yeah, drop it a rank because it's specialized. We'll see if I can make that consistent. So yeah, this could be any charm. So it's first rank or up, but the rank the rank of the chamber itself is going to dictate the level of charm, as opposed to the library is as soon as you're second rank, you can start picking up the library, and even with just 1 point, you get access to the legend lore charm immediately. So your empower rank needs to increase to create higher and higher level scrolls. Just like laying down charms on you, you'd have to be a first rank. You have to do, like, if you want to put, like, get a 5th level spell as a scroll, you'd have to have a 3rd rank library to be able to craft that 5th level spell. But that's covered in the general rules of Empower. And then research, you only need 1 point in research, but once you have that 1 point in there, however high of a D20 test you can pass is going to set how many questions you can have answered pertaining to that subject of research. So this seems to be consistent now, and I'm happy with that. Hey, what's up? Huh. Okay. Hey, Gabby Pie. That's... I don't know, dude. Life apparently is stranger than we thought. Sanctum. We're down to the sanctum. Wait. Yeah, we have the observatory already. Reliquary, we have it. Sanctuary, we have it. Sanctum, yeah, has unique downtime activities. Scriptorum, no. Smithy, no. Spy Network, no. Stables, yes. Downtime activity. When a character that spends a Bastion turn in this facility gains the benefit of the Animal Friendship spell with animals trained at this facility. For a number of Bastion turns equal to the number, to the rank of this facility. So if I spend a week here and I have a 3rd rank stable, then it'd be 3 Bastion turns or 3 weeks. That's useful. Yeah, number of Bastion turns equal to the rank of the facility. That makes sense. Stable. So stable. Stable equals effect of animal friendship. So, Bastions, what am I working on? YouTube is coded weird. Yeah, it is. This is the Bastion campaign. It is converting the Bastion system in the Dungeon Master's Guide 2024 into ability checks. If you succeed at the ability check, you do the thing that you wanted to do. If you fail the ability check, you can't complete doing the thing that you wanted to do until you resolve the complication that's created as a result of failing the Bastion check. Your Bastion is incapable of carrying out the order under current circumstances. We have a random table down here that determines if it was, like, say, a recruit order. I have a complication. I'm going to roll a 6-sided die to determine what kind of order can resolve it. I rolled a 1. So in this instance, if I'm trying to create, like, say, recruit a monster to help defend my fortress, and I rolled the complication is crafting related. The target creature of recruiting demands better facilities or equipment. craft order to improve facilities or create additional equipment. So if I wanted to just resolve the complication by rolling an additional order, that becomes a skill check. And if I fail that skill check, it starts to cascade. So if I want my characters to go on an adventure to resolve this problem, in this instance, we're looking at a fetch quest. You need to go find a plot hook is to acquire additional resources to improve facilities or equipment. Let's say you wanted to lure a young red dragon to be part of your bastion, and that dragon's like, you need to give me a dragon's hoard in the chamber that I'm going to be hanging out in. I want it filled with gold for me to sleep on. If you do that, I'll be happy to stay here and make this place my lair. No problem. Okay, great. Well, now we need to improve our facilities and equipment so that we can build a suitable dragon's lair, including treasure. That becomes our quest. So our quest is now to basically just get bulk gold from someplace that'll appease the dragon. Cool. Okay. Or I could resolve it with a crafting check, which is basically improve the facilities to make this place work. And if I fail the crafting check to do that, we can then go up to the crafting order. Roll another d6 to see what our complication is. I rolled a 6. We now have a trade issue. Trade order to acquire the materials that you need. Plot hook. Find exotic materials or the required plans to make the thing that you wanted. Well, that kind of works out because in this instance, we were trying to make a dragon's lair in our bastion. And it turns out we don't have nearly enough gold coin just laying around to pull it off. So we now need to trade for just bulk bullion that the dragon will be happy with. So that's going to be a separate trade check. Or I can make an adventure out of it for me to go find the bullion that we need to fill the dragon's lair. So, okay, let's decide it's a complication that we're going to let the guild try to take, the Bastion take care of. So let's go down to trade. It's a d6. I rolled a 3. Empower. A settlement your Bastion trades with is blighted with a curse. Trade order, huh? The reason I can't get the bullion that I want is because a settlement that we trade with that we were supposed to get the gold from is blighted with a curse. So I could either issue the Empower order to try to sanctify the settlement and reestablish harvesting, or I can make an adventure out of it to purge the settlement of the cursed blight, whatever that might be. So that becomes an Empower issue, and then we can just continue cascading through here. And when you run out of orders, if you keep failing your check with the orders, then you keep delaying the dragon recruiting because you have this huge cascade of bullshit that you have to deal with. Anytime, this could be an adventure for your characters to resolve, and it all just gets fixed because we brought in the gold, we built the place, here you go, dragon, good to go. But the more you relegate these activities to your bastion, sure, you can progress on different fronts and achieve different goals through your bastion. But if they run into complication at some point, they're going to hit a wall and they need characters' involvement to help. Like if you run out of orders, then everything stops until whatever's blocking your path gets resolved. Then everything can start resolving, cascade back up to resolve. So you take care of the gold mines blight, so now they can start supplying gold to you that you now get as bullion that you can put into the dragon's facility, and now the dragon can sleep here and he'll be happy to hang out in your facilities and your bastion. You now have a gold. You now have a red dragon as an allied creature in your bastion. And that only took 4 things for us to go through to get that. Or we could have just started dealing with it right away with characters, make that our adventure this week. Go figure that thing out, come back with the treasure, dragon's happy, move on to the next thing. But your characters can only go on one adventure at a time. I just disappeared from the screen. And I'm back. Hi. Yeah, your characters can only deal with one adventure at a time. So if you have multiple complications for different things that you're trying to do, you're going to have to pick one and then relegate the rest of it to your bastion. Often it's because your characters are going to succeed because they're going on an adventure. And if they die, then you can just roll up new characters in the bastion, have them try to take on that adventure and recover the characters to res them or something like that, whatever. But you can have multiple, like we were talking about earlier in the session, you can have multiple parties of characters that all work for the Bastion. They could all run off and do different adventures to resolve various types of complications. But you don't know what your complications are until you issue orders from the Bastion for this turn. And if they all get accomplished, then you'll have a Bastion event. And if it's something that your characters are interested in pursuing, that becomes your adventure. Or the players could be like, we ran into this bloody blah a couple weeks ago. Let's go fuck around with that thing some. Now your adventure is to go explore that space. So you're leaving your Bastion to do its own thing. You're going to go off, explore that bloody blah, check that thing out. Maybe that spurs some ideas that you want to do. So you bring these ideas back to your Bastion and you start issuing new types of orders to fold in whatever that bloody blah was. That's the direction that the team wants to take the campaign. That's the direction we're going. All of our tasks start gearing towards bloody blah, and now all of our complications are in context to this bloody blah that the team likes. Well, what if they want to change their ideas about where they want the campaign to go again in the future? Well, then you just start shifting all of the priorities, complications, and interactions to the Bastion to complement whatever that bloody blah is. And that's how you can build a progressive campaign through random generation, through success and failures of tasks that you assign to your Bastion. So that's the essence of what the Bastion campaign is. So we're codifying all the shit that goes into that. So that's why we get paid the big bucks. Because we can take narrative concepts like this and break them down into mechanical processes that can then be dropped into a role-playing game. And I just happen to like 5th edition more than anything else. I love building for D&D. So there we go. Stables resolved. Looking for the next downtime activity, which is the theater. Theater, a character can spin a Bastion turn in this facility to participate in the performance to gain inspiration for upcoming adventures. Each participant chooses a role. And you gain downtime dice. So yeah, theater, more downtime dice. Theater equals gain downtime dice. The gaming hall can grant gains downtime dice because you're so infused with luck and good fortune in the gaming hall that you now have bardic inspiration dice that you can add during your adventure. And the theater, the performance that you perform inspires your heart so much that you gain inspiration dice. You could also do this with, since these are just basic downtime activity things that you basic downtime activities. The benefits that you get, you could basically set up there's all sorts of ways that you could narrate that. If your character spends the Bastion churn at this facility, they gain downtime dice. A training, training facilities could be you practice this skill often, so you're now gaining downtime dice to spend on that skill. Or your spy network is specifically learning all the defenses of this facility that you're trying to break into. So when you are hiding or searching for traps and secret passes and stuff like that, you get to add downtime dice to your hide and your perception checks and your investigate checks to represent the research that your spy network put into learning specifics about this facility. So you get this flashback mechanic like Blades in the Dark to be able to retcon. This die represents the time that Bob spent digging around in the dirt, finding all the tripwires in this place as a rat when he transformed himself for 3 days. So I'm going to roll this Bastion die, and I remember him saying that there was a tripwire that goes from the old birch tree to the farm. So I'm going to gingerly step in this area to make sure that I dot. Yeah, you found the trap. You found the tripwire. Great. I can go ahead and resolve that one. Or Bob came through and he snipped all the wires last night. Since he found them all as a rat, he came through and just chewed through all of them to deactivate them. So when you find them, you can roll your downtime die, add it to your search checks. I found the trap and it was already broken. Bob took care of it because that's what we hired him to do. That would be a way that you could represent this gaining downtime dice as a spy thing. So the basic downtime activity, this is the benefit that you get from it. But then you get to make up your own narratives from there. When you're building your own facilities, if you choose to give them downtime activities, and one of the activities you choose to give them is gain downtime dice, you now understand this codifies what that mechanic is. So, training area. Downtime activity is gain an ability. Let's go down to training area equals, is that what it's called? God, what a horrible name. Training area equals, let's see, gain character feature. That's gonna be unique. That one's gonna be unique. Theater is gonna be basic. I'm almost there. I shouldn't do that yet. Hold on. War room, recruit, workshop. Oh, yeah. Great timing. Okay, so this is literally all the downtime activities that currently exist. There's 32 facilities that we've created for this. The 29 that are in the DMG plus a couple extra. And then of all of those, these are the downtime activities that your character can actually perform. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. There's 13 instances or 13 different facilities that provide some form of downtime activity. Are they a common downtime activity? Is there something common about them that can be consistent and then built into a general rule that the facility refers to, or is it unique that it's its own thing specific to that facility? So we need to describe how it works in the description of the facility. That's our current question. So gaining downtime dice. It happens more than once. That's a basic downtime activity. Training area is you gain character features like feats, skills. Here, let's look at that again real quick because it's kind of cool. If your character spends a week of downtime activity here, depending on the level of your character and the number of points that you've been able to put into your Bastion so far for your training area, first off, you have to be at least second rank Bastion to even have a training area. That lets you start putting points into it. So if I've only put 1 point into my training area so far, of all the Bastion points that I have, at second rank, I'll have at least 10. If I put at least 1 point into a training area, then characters level, first level and higher, can gain, after a week of training at the area, you can have a weapon proficiency, an armor proficiency, or you can learn a language. And that's the only boon you can have at this facility. If you come back to the training facility, say you're 10th level, you could instead gain a feat that you qualify for, or you could gain expertise in a skill that you're proficient with. But that would take away the weapon proficiency and the armor proficiency or the language that you had learned. Right? Because you can only have only one such boon can be active per character at a time. So there you go. So as you gain levels, you have more options available to you. But, you know, at 14th level, maybe you just need this particular feat. Okay, great. Well, I'm willing to give up proficiency and dexterity saving throws to get this particular feat. I need this adventure. But on the next adventure, I could spend downtime to re-kit my character to have a different boon so that our whole team can be, like, if we just spend a week in downtime as a team, we could all have, I don't know, we could all speak Kuo-toa, or like maybe we can all learn, I don't know, man. We could all gain the Poisoner feat, for example, to be able to trick our way into an Assassin's Guild or something like that. We could demonstrate our ability. Like if you're really high level, we have an epic feat. You know, maybe we all pick up Misty Hop, a Misty Step, as a spell that we could use at will, because we know we're going to go through a number of traps that teleportation would be useful. So if we can bonus action every turn with Misty Step, picking up that epic boon would be really useful. So let's acquire that. But we can't get that unless we're at least 17th level. And we've put 5 points into our training area, which means we have to have a 5th rank facility, which is effectively a 17th level character onto its own. So that's the idea. So that's unique. The effects of animal friendship. That's a unique effect. Word of recall charm. That's a specific charm that you get, so that's a unique benefit. Temporary hit points from the Sanctum. That's a unique benefit. Druidic charm. Any. That's a basic. That's a basic downtime. Reliquary could be any arcane, divine, or druidic charm. That's a basic option. Observatory, arcane charm specifically. There you go. Damage resistance. That's unique to the menagerie. Meditation chamber gives you a divine charm. That's a basic. That's a very basic downtime activity. Library, legend lore charm. That's a unique downtime activity you can only gain from the library. So, okay, so, and then government, you gain charisma check advantage while you're on in the settlement where the government is located at. That's unique. And then the gaming hall uses the basic idea of downtime dice, which is also present in the theater. So, we now have two basic tasks, two basic downtime activities that can be performed, and we have a whole bunch of unique downtime activities that can be performed. But any of those unique activities can be basically replicated somehow. But yeah, we're going to leave Word of Recall and Animal Friendship. We're going to leave those as the, and the Sanctum. Yeah, that's the Word of Recall. Yeah, we're going to leave those as unique because they're a specific spell relevant to that facility. Each facility can only have 3 perks, right? Like training area has a facility benefit, it has a downtime activity, and you can issue it an order. And so the way that this system is built is that each facility that you add to your Bastion can have at most three gains, three benefits that it provides, like 3 perks. And those perks are divided between benefits, downtime activities, and orders. So if there's like other ideas I have about like what a training facility could be, you could modify your training facility. So like maybe it can't issue the recruit order, but like maybe, I don't know, it could like give you downtime activity, could give you temporary hit points, like the Sanctum could. If the DM allows it, you can reconfigure your Bastion to be able to do that. You just want to be careful about cherry picking too much. So like there shouldn't be too many synergies. Like generally, like for example, the training area, when you're making an empower check, you can roll an additional Bastion die, adding the highest result to the result of the check. And you use empower checks to see if you can enchant a magical item. As you can see here, you can't enchant magic items in the training area, but the training area does allow you to practice empowering that item. That explains why you get the extra Bastion die to roll to see if you're successful at your check. So there's a general rule that we'll lay out in the DM section when we get to it about modifying and designing your own Bastion, your own facilities, where like if a facility benefit would make a check easier, then generally don't have that facility be able to issue an order that uses that order rule. Like these are just basic rules to prevent you from making an overpowered, over synergized, like Munchkin optimization level facilities dotted throughout your Bastion that are just broken. They should be diverse, complementary and thematic, but diverse in what they do. Not too like the synergy shouldn't exist inside of itself. The synergy should come from other facilities that learn to work with each other, like your laboratory and your workshop working together as a larger cohesive group allows you to make really fucking cool shit. So like you shouldn't pack all that into just a workshop. Just spread out your points so you have both a laboratory and a workshop. Make them work together. So, and we'll have rules for all that stuff of how you can mix and match and then build your own. So if you're inspired to create your own bits, you'll have... Anyway, I'm pontificating at this point. Okay, so next step is let's go down here to we have the basic downtime activities, which is do-it-yourself projects, and then we have let's see, charms, character charms. That's probably how we should word it. Character charms. And we have downtime dice. believe I think those are the three basic things. The basic downtime of do it yourself, which is instead of issuing an order to your Bastion, your character stays there and does it yourself. So you make an ability check and add the Bastion dice to your ability check to get better results than what either one of you would be able to do on your own, likely. Then the character does better than the Bastion, but the Bastion has the dice that they add to their die roll. So they can potentially outperform the characters, but only potentially. They could roll a 1, and it doesn't do well. So the character gets their ability check, their ability modifier, and if they're proficient, proficiency bonus, and the d20. And then on top of it, since this is how they're spending their turn, they get the Bastion dice of your Bastion to add to their ability check to succeed at the task. And if they fail, a complication occurs just like usual. So, and it just continues on from there, bloody, 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 bloody. So this appears to be the three, yeah, that's the do-it-yourself project, and then character charms. So we have multiple facilities here that offer charms. So let's group them together. Let's go with theater for downtime dice. Character charms come before do-it-yourself, if we're going alphabetical about this. So let's do character charms. Yeah. Basic downtime activities characters can choose while at the Bastion. Characters that spend a Bastion turn in a facility that grants a boon, that grants charms, can empower that grants charms. Let's see. Characters that spend a Bastion turn in a facility that grants charms must stay in the facility the full Bastion turn to choose a spell to grant to the character as a charm. And a charm in the DMG 2024 is defined as a spell that you are basically infused with, that as a magic action that doesn't require spell casting or any kind of components. You invoke the spell to trigger as a magic action, and your spell pops. There you go. So let's go look at the language of charm. Hold on, I'm going to just gather these up again here real quick. Basic. There is let's see, a number various. When you say something like a number of things do something, the natural question that immediately crops up is, how many is that number? Various facilities offer downtime activities that characters can participate in at the facility to gain a temporary feature as detailed below. Various facilities offer downtime activities that characters can participate in at the facility. Based on activity, characters can choose. There. One downtime activity and adventure. 2 if they don't. So begin and end the Bastion turn to benefit from these activities unless described. Must either begin and end the Bastion turn at the Bastion to benefit from the activities. Or they must spend the entire Bastion turn at the facility to benefit. Thank you. Whew, man, I'm starting to feel some illness going on. Something is unhappy in my belly. We'll figure it out. Basic downtime activity characters can choose while at the Bastion. Let's see. Basic. Some downtime activities. Some facilities offer similar downtime activities detailed below. If a facility offers, if a character can participate in one of these activities, they are consistent. The facility description above provides any additional details. Character charms. Characters. Okay, great. So now we've got that basic language set up for us. Let's go hunt charms. Where are we getting them from? We're at T right now. Let's go down. Or up. Let's go forward. Back. Yes. Sanctuary. Here we go. Bastion has a number of... Oh, yeah. That's a cool facility. Downtime activities. Can spend a Bastion turn of downtime activity using this facility to gain a number of temporary hit points. Character that spends it. Next. Thank you. Here we go. And this is what that downtime activity is actually being reduced to in the Sanctuary. A character that spends a Bastion turn of downtime activity using this facility gains the benefit of a Druidic charm. But in the actual document, we're going to drop down here to character charms. Bam. Characters can spend a Bastion turn in a facility that grants charms. Let's do it this way. A character that spends a Bastion turn of downtime activity using this facility gains the benefit of a charm. Period. The facility will will description will indicate which type of charm can be gained. The maximum level spell. The charm can be any spell listed, any spell that qualifies with the maximum level spell with the charm can be any spell from the available spell list with a maximum level spell determined by the number of Bastion points expended to improve this facility up to the listed character level. Only one charm can be active per character at a time. Character that spends a Bastion turn of downtime activity using this facility gains the benefit of a charm. The facility description will indicate which type of charm can be gained, whether arcane, divine, druidic, or a combination of a combination between the three, between them. There, easy enough. We'll standardize language. Currently, this one reads number of Bastion points spent to improve this facility, to improve the facility. Expended to improve the facility up to the listed character level. Only one charm can be active on a character at a time. Or we could word it as Bastion rank, the rank of the facility. And rank is determined by the number of points spent on the facility, which is limited by the rank of the Bastion. We'll figure it out. We'll suss that out. I'll probably consult an editor about which language is going to be best. We'll probably end up going in that direction, but I might make a decision for myself along the way. We'll see. Well, we now know the standard use. It's going to either be an arcane, divine, or druidic. We know the level of the character is going to define the maximum level of charm that you can gain, and it has to correspond with the let's go with facility rank. That's starting to feel better. The charm can be any spell from the available list from the listed from the spell lists from the spell list in the description. The maximum level spell is determined by the rank of the facility up to the listed character level. That's much easier. The rank of a facility can never outrank the Bastion itself. So if you have a third rank Bastion, you could have a first rank library, a second rank laboratory, and a third rank workshop, spending a total of 6 Bastion points in the process of doing so. A first rank facility that can create magic items can't create magic items better than common magic items. Common, uncommon, rare, very rare, and at 5th rank you can make legendary magic items. There you go. Shifting my seats. So that's the character charm mechanics, and now let's trim through the list to cull it a little bit. was easy. Anywhere that list exists, we can pretty much cull it. That was easy. Now zero list. Okay, cool. So that resolved that, and let's go over to here. So that was character charms. Maybe it should be magical charms. I kind of like that better. There are no variant downtime activities. There's just downtime activities and unique downtime activities. Basic and unique. Downtime dice. Let's go take a look at how downtime dice work, which is going to be at the theater and gaming hall. In this facility is inspired with good fortune, gaining a number of Bastion die. Let's see. Let's spend the entire Bastion turn in this facility. Gains character that spends a Bastion turn in this facility gains a number of downtime dice equal to the rank of the facility. The size of the downtime dice corresponds to the rank of the facility. The size of the downtime dice corresponds to the rank of the facility. You can add one Bastion die to any D20 test you make after the Bastion turn ends. That begin. Gains a number of Bastion dice equal to the rank of the facility. The size of the downtime dice corresponds to the rank of the facility. You gain gains a number of downtime dice as well. You can add one Bastion die to any D20 test you make after the Bastion turn ends, expending the Bastion die when you do. Do so after you roll, but before you know if you succeed the test or not. If you have any downtime dice remaining when you take this downtime activity again, they are replaced with the new dice. They're lost. With the new set of dice. With the new dice. There you go. That's easy enough. Very simple. So, Gaming Hall. Downtime dice. A character that spends a Bastion turn in this facility is inspired with good fortune. Gaining downtime dice to spend during your next adventure. Period. Let's go to the theater. A character that spends a Bastion turn in this facility can participate in a performance to gain adventure inspiration for upcoming adventures or Bastion orders. Period. Each participant chooses a role. A character that spends a Bastion turn participating in the performance are inspired and gain a number of downtime dice and gain number of downtime dice to spend on your next adventure. A little bit more wordy than it needs to be, but I'll leave it be because that's very similar to what they already have worded in the DMG. We've just been translating it into this downtime system. So magical charms, check. Downtime dice, check. Do-it-yourself project, check. Basic downtime activities, resolved. Unique. Let's see what it says. Downtime, orders, basic orders, variant orders, unique orders. Unique orders create new effects that are not replicated by other basic. There we go. Steal the language that exists. Replicate. Replicate is not hate. Unique downtime activities. Provide new effects and benefits for characters that are not replicated by other basic orders. For example, an observatory can provide an arcane charm of a level appropriate to the character a basic downtime, a level appropriate to the character appropriate to the character's level, while the library provides a legend lore charm as a unique downtime activity to a character of any level. Of any level appropriate to the character's level. Thank you, Downtime. While the library provides a legend lore charm as a unique downtime activity to a character of any level. There you go. And that is accurate. So it's not key to your character's level. It's just something you get. If the facility is active inside of your Bastion, if the Sanctum with the Word of Recall, if you have your facility set up so that you're running first level characters out of your 4th rank Bastion, and there's a Sanctum facility available, then yes, your first level characters can benefit from a Word of Recall that will teleport them back to the Bastion with a snap of the finger, which is awesome. But you have to have a 4th rank guild to set that up in the first place. You can get Teleportation Circle at 3rd rank even sooner. So it's not that big of a deal. But again, also, any character of any level that's in the Bastion, and if the Bastion has a Teleportation Circle, that Bastion as a feature benefit, as a facility benefit, can cast Teleport once per day through that circle. So your characters can blip and blop all over the place once they have the high level shit available to them. So we've already defined downtime activities. Unique downtime activities provide new effects and benefits for characters that are not replicated in basic orders. The specifics are detailed in the facility description above. Period. I almost feel like this should be before now. But yeah, that resolves do it yourself. All the downtime activities. Hey, we done did do it. So facility benefits, downtime activities, and then orders. So it should probably actually be downtime activities, facility benefits, and orders is probably the right way to do it if we're sticking with the alphabet. But honestly, that's my lot for the day. I think I'm at a good place. It's 9 o'clock. We've been at this for 3 hours. This is probably a good place for us to stop. We've made some good progress. We've restructured the document as a whole, so it's a little bit more consistent in placement of stuff. I'm very happy. We're going to come back and we're going to... this Thursday I'm playing Shadow Dark on Wally DM with Wally DM, AJ Pickett, Fred Wheeler with RPG, How to RPG, and I don't remember who else is on the team right now, but we'll be playing some Shadow Dark, level 1 Shadow Dark adventuring, I think. Hopefully we're picking up where we left off last month, but once every month or so, I'll play a game with that crew of creators, and it's super fucking fun. So I'll be doing that on Thursday. If you join my Discord channel down below, it's free access. But keep an eye on the self-promotion channel. I will be providing an update once I have the link to the channel on Thursday. I'll provide it to you. So we'll pick up the Bastion campaign probably next week on Monday. This Thursday. No, I'll be able to do Bastion campaign after Shadow Dark, but it'll be later than usual. Probably like around 7:30 or maybe even 8 o'clock. So it's going to be late and not as long a session. But when we do, we'll be working with facility benefits Similarly, looking for these types of patterns to be able to have basic facility benefits versus unique facility benefits. So once we finish that, we might get that done on Thursday. It might take till, I suspect we'll get done on Thursday. But when we finish the facility benefit breakdown, then we'll go into Bastion conflicts, sieges, and sabotage. And once we resolve that, we'll probably deal with settlements before conflicts. Yeah, we'll lock down settlements, and then we'll deal with conflicts because that's relevant. And then we'll go back through the complications and Bastion events, make sure all of those are square, and then our first draft is going to be done. Or at least the core mechanics of the first draft. It's still choppy. We need all the connective tissue and like wordy language to connect components to each other. But all the mechanics, they're all here already. We just got to parse them out a little bit better. Like the Bastion conflict's still just a shitload of just random paragraphs that aren't really structured yet. But the events and complications are good enough. All the facilities as written are good enough and good to go. The way that orders work, all those rules are there. It could probably use a little bit more structure, but it's all here. So you should be able to make a Bastion work if you understand how the system works. So that's what all the connective language is, all the connective tissue that does all the little minute explanations and transitions from one section to the next and all that blah blah that we'll hash out with writing. But mechanically this thing is coming together, and I suspect by Thursday next week no, I'm not going to say that. I would say by probably like 2 or 3, I would say probably in 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks from now. Before May, certainly before May, we're going to have a working rough draft of this document that people can fuck around and find out with, mess around with it for a while. We'll play test with it. And then maybe by June, we'll be ready to send this off as a manuscript to an editor, perhaps. We'll see. The timing's coming together, though. This has been a really clean project. So, yeah. If you thought today was fun, the future's just going to be more of the same. We'll be doing artwork tomorrow morning on the Eberron adventure that is well on its way to being published. This is nipping right at its heels, I can tell. But yeah, we'll be doing artwork tomorrow morning, as we usually do. And I'll be back at lunch tomorrow to work on the Wild Magic Sorcerer, and then all the Forsaken subclasses like the Divine Soul, Shadow Magic, and Tempest or Storm Magic. I don't know what it's called. Anyway, there's a few left over. We'll work on those tomorrow at lunch, and if we don't finish them, Friday lunch as well. And yeah, that's our week. And then we'll be doing Martial Powers playtesting in the Mega Dungeon at 5th level on Saturday morning, assuming we have at least 3 players. So, yeah. Thanks a lot, guys. I'm out of here. I'll see you on the other side. Cheers.